The blustering winds howled across the landscape of Glacia, whipping through endless drifts of crystalline snow and casting shadows against the shimmering ice sculptures that adorned the castle. Elara stood poised on the edge of her palace's balcony, her breath creating fog in the frigid air. The sun barely pierced through the thick clouds, casting a muted light that was reminiscent of a world where color had faded away. Yet, she found beauty in this frozen kingdom despite its starkness. With long white hair cascading down her back like waterfalls of glimmering snow and icy blue eyes that could freeze a man's heart, Elara was truly a vision. She wore a gown forged from the finest silk spun with threads of icy silver, making her look ethereal against the bleak backdrop of Glacia. But her beauty was a cold flame, flickering with rage and resentment, rather than warmth and compassion. Scorned by the men of her past, she was resolute in her desire for dominance. She would make them pay for underestimating her. In her past, Elara had extended her heart, only to have it trampled upon. A childhood love had turned into a betrayal when he left her for power, abandoning her for the throne of another kingdom. The stings of rejection had morphed into icy resolve, melting the remnants of her trust until all that remained was a heart encased in frost. In her solitude, she had discovered a fire within her, a longing not just for revenge, but for absolute rule over her kingdom, where men would no longer dictate her fate. "I will take what is rightfully mine," she whispered into the howling winds, her voice a quiet resolve carried away by the gales, a kingdom built on ice and solitude. Days turned into weeks as Elara strategized from her frosty palace, her loyal advisors spinning tales of rebellion against the current rulers, weak men who squandered their power. She began to gather a secret army, disenchanted soldiers and those scorned by the patriarchs who took all yet gave nothing in return. They would be her ice-bound warriors, and together they would uphold her icy reign. The harsh winters matched her fervor, the chill in the air reflective of her growing ambitions. But beneath the glacial veil of determination lay an unrelenting loneliness that gnawed at her core, an incessant ache that no amount of power could soothe. As often as the silence wrapped around her, it occasionally revealed a warmth that questioned her every decision, urging her to reconsider her path. One fateful evening, a gathering was held in the great hall of her palace, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows across the walls. Elaborate tapestries weaved with tales of conquest adorned the hall, but tonight it was the hushed whispers of rebellion that filled the air. Elara sat at the head of a long table, icy determination etched across her features as she surveyed her assembled allies. "Tonight marks the beginning of our uprising," she declared, her voice sharp yet alluring, echoing through the chamber. "We will seize control of the frost crystals, the very source of our power. They shall grant us dominion over Glacia." The rebels leaned in closer, their eyes glinting with fervor. Each man and woman in attendance felt the pull of Elara's ambition, the promise of a world governed by power instead of the oppressive rule they had endured. Among them was Helga, a fierce warrior with scars that traced her skin like the lines of a map, each telling a story of forgotten battles fought in vain. "Elara," Helga spoke, her voice rough yet resonant. "The frost crystals are not merely objects of power. They're guarded by ancient enchantments. We must prepare ourselves. The journey will be perilous." Nodding, Elara felt a surge of energy, the weight of destiny heavy upon her shoulders. "Then we shall prepare for the unthinkable. Every move we make must be calculated. We will not just take the crystals, we will protect our kingdom from the tyranny that binds it." As excitement crackled through the air, Elara's mind raced with visions of her icy empire, images of a Glacia where she reigned supreme, untouched and unparalleled. Even as doubt flickered like a dying ember deep within her heart, she was an ice queen, and this world would know her wrath. The following days saw them gathering supplies, forging alliances, and honing their skills for a battle unlike anything Glacia had ever witnessed. The rebels trained day and night, the clang of metal and shouts of exertion filling the cold air. Elara herself was an unstoppable force, pushing her warriors to their extremes, her singular focus to claim the frost crystals driving them deeper into the heart of their ambitions. However, as the winter winds howled and the days grew shorter, unease began to infiltrate Elara's thoughts. The weight of her isolation pressed down, and the distance between her and the men who had scorned her felt insurmountable. The fear of vulnerability gnawed at her core, leaving scars unseen, yet deeply felt. Then, just as the final phase of their plans began to surface, a vision came to Elara, an ethereal dream where she found herself surrounded by swirling snowflakes, ancient spirits, whispering ancient secrets. At the center of the dream, she stood before the frost crystals, radiant and pulsating with an unknown energy. But suddenly the shadows darkened, a dark force rising from beneath the ice. Eyes, cold as the depths of winter, watched her with unrelenting hunger, demanding her soul. She awoke with a gasp, heart racing as the chill of the vision seeped into her bones. Torn by uncertainty, Elara struggled against the will of her heart. Did she truly wish to summon darkness upon her kingdom for the sake of power? Or could she forge an alliance, one that might unveil the truth behind her past and the foes that rose forth against her? Feeling the tremors of doubt, but also the surge of ambition, she resolved to consult the ancient scrolls that spoke of the frost crystals. They would be her guide, a bridge connecting her desires to the looming revelation of an unseen force. As she descended into the catacombs of her palace, the air grew colder, shadows creeping closer. The icy stones whispered secrets long buried beneath layers of frost, secrets that, if uncovered, could change the very fabric of Glacia and Elara's destiny. With resolve, she pushed forward, heart beating wildly. Little did she know, the truth she uncovered would unleash a force neither she nor her rebels could ever truly comprehend. The journey had only just begun, and the fate of her icy world hung in the balance. The catacombs beneath the palace were a labyrinth of ice and stone, a chilling reminder of Glacia's ancient past. Elara moved through the narrow passageways with resolve, her footsteps echoing in the hollow silence. Candles placed in star-shaped holders flickered weakly, casting eerie shadows on the walls, creating the illusion of the past crawling closer. Her breath came in wisps of fog as she descended deeper, the air growing heavier with every step, filled with secrets yet untold. She reached a massive door carved from pure ice, adorned with the intricate symbology of the frost crystals, a design depicting a heart encased in ice, surrounded by swirling snowflakes. Elara placed her hand against the icy surface, feeling the vibrations of ancient magic. With effort, she pushed it open and the door creaked, revealing a vast chamber illuminated by the subtle glow of hundreds of crystals embedded in the walls. The air shimmered with supernatural energy. In the center of the chamber, a pedestal bore the most magnificent frost crystal, the largest, radiating an otherworldly light. Elara approached with bated breath, captivated by its beauty yet wary of the power it projected. Legends whispered of its ability to grant dominion over all forms of ice. It was the key to her throne and her ambition. However, as she reached out to touch the crystal, the glow intensified, and the icy wind rushed around her, swirling almost protectively. It was then that she felt a presence, a cold shadow coalescing in the corner of her vision. Instinctively, she withdrew her hand, heart racing. "Reveal yourself," she commanded, summoning all the authority she could muster. A figure materialized from the shadows, cloaked in a swirling mist of frost and snow. Its eyes glowed with the blue intensity of glaciers, and its voice resonated like cracking ice. "You approach the heart of the frost crystals unwisely, Ice Queen." Elara straightened, feeling a mix of fear and defiance. "Who are you to challenge me? I seek the power to reclaim my kingdom and reshape it under my rule." The spirit regarded her with a knowing gaze, its form shifting curiously. "Your ambition runs deep, yet you are blind to the darkness that lingers beneath your desire. The frost crystals guard more than just power. They seal away the malevolence, an ancient curse that seeks to devour your kingdom." Elara's heart raced, not with fear, but with fierce determination. "I will not be deterred. Men have scorned me. I shall not be undermined by a mere legend." The spirit's laughter echoed around the chamber, cold and foreboding. "It is your choices that will define your reign, Queen. To claim the crystals is to awaken the shadows beneath. Those who have wronged you may not be your only enemies. The frost has been your cloak, but it will also be your shroud if you are not careful." Ignoring its warning, Elara stepped closer to the pedestal, drawn by the magnetic pull of the crystal. When her fingers finally brushed against its surface, an electric surge rushed through her, visions flashing before her eyes. images of battles yet to come, of men and women rising against her, and then the shadows, twisting and clawing their way out of the earth. Suddenly, she yanked her hand back, gasping as the connection severed. "What was that?" she demanded, her heart racing. "Am I meant to fear my own power?" The spirit merely maintained its haunting gaze. "You hold a choice, Elara. Embrace your ambition and risk awakening what lies beneath, or forge a path of unity and understanding. Allies can be found in places you least expect. They will serve you better than mere strength alone." Elara hesitated, a tempest brewing within her. Though the visions were terrifying, they ignited a spark of realization. Perhaps her path had always been too solitary, her ambition too blind. What if the true strength of Glacia came from unity among its people rather than tyranny? But the thought was buried beneath layers of resentment, the wounds from her past still fresh in her mind. "Consider your path wisely, Ice Queen," the spirit whispered, its form beginning to dissipate like mist in the wind. "I will watch. The frost holds memories, and it remembers not just your ambition but the scars of betrayal." With that, it vanished, leaving Elara alone in the vast, dim chamber, the glow of the crystal a haunting reminder of what lay ahead. The weight of the spirit's words hung heavily in the air, and for a fleeting moment, Elara felt the icy grip of doubt threatening to encase her heart. Returning to the surface, Elara emerged into the cold night, thoughts tangled like snowflakes in a storm. As her army prepared for their imminent raid on the frost crystals, conflicted feelings stirred within her. She looked down at her loyal followers, warriors hungry for change and vengeance. Could she risk revealing the shadows that loomed over their impending ambition? "Helga!" she called, summoning the warrior to her side. "Prepare your soldiers, we ride at dawn." The hardened warrior nodded, her brow furrowed with intensity. "Are you sure about this, Elara? Our plans grow bolder, but I sense a shift in your heart. Is fear creeping in?" "No." Elara responded, firmer than she felt. "I merely realize that the path I tread is fraught with peril. We must strike at the heart of this power before it slips away." But within her, a war brewed, fear mingling with ambition. Perhaps it was time to awaken an understanding of the kingdom, not just a thirst for vengeance. She needed to sway the hearts of those who shared her pain, unite the people of Glacia, rather than enforcing rule through icy tyranny. As dawn broke, painting the world in shades of pale blue and silver, Elara gathered her troops at the castle gates, their spirits high and resolute. They set out, their breaths visible in the chill of the morning, each step crunching through the fresh snow, a chilling portent of what lay ahead. The trek to the frost crystals was treacherous. The frozen wasteland revealed crevices of ice that shimmered with danger, and winds howled, warning them of the dark energies that enveloped the crystal's heart. Yet, the sound of determination rang louder than any howl as they approached their destination, a desolate valley encased in a shimmering frost. And as the mountains loomed over them, guards shrouded in armor of ice appeared, standing sentinel like sentinels of winter. "Halt!" one commanded, voice resonating with authority, wielding a sword that gleamed like frost. "State your business." Elara steeled herself, a cyclone of uncertainty swirling beneath her surface. She could feel the icy pressure building as tensions rose, but there was no turning back now. It was time to make a choice. The vision from the spirit clawed at her thoughts, echoing in her mind. If she pressed forward alone, the gateway to a dark destiny would open. But if she united her purpose with those standing with her, something greater could arise from the shadows. With resolve igniting the chill within her, she stepped forward. "Here we stand to reclaim what is ours," she declared, voice clear and strong, heart trembling with both fear and hope. "We seek the frost crystals not for tyranny, but for the future of Glacia, where power exists alongside unity, a kingdom reshaped by strength in togetherness." As the guards paused, Elara felt the echo of those words ripple through the air, a banner raised against the impending storm. Perhaps, just perhaps, the winds of fate were beginning to shift in her favor, and the darkness would not claim her realm without a fight. With her heart pounding in her chest, she braced herself for the confrontation that would unravel more than just an icy ambition, yet forge a path to save her kingdom from its impending doom. The fate of Glacia hung in the balance, and the battle that followed would determine whether light could pierce through the frost or if shadows would reign. The tension was palpable as the guards exchanged wary glances, their armor glistening in the weak sunlight. Elara stood firm, her heart pounding in rhythm with the cries of her warriors behind her. The air crackled with anticipation, the cold biting but invigorating. "Speak then, Ice Queen," the guard said, his voice stern. "What proof do you offer that your ambitions seek the good of Glacia rather than destruction?" Elara inhaled deeply, her icy breath mingling with the frosty air. "My purpose is to awaken the power of the frost crystals, not to wield it for tyranny, but to break the chains that bind us. We have suffered too long under weak leadership. It is time for a ruler who understands both strength and grace. Together, we can bring peace to a land scarred by betrayal." The guard's expression softened as he glanced back at his compatriots, murmurs rippling among them like the sound of ice sheets cracking underfoot. "Many before you have sought power for themselves, promising change. What makes you different?" Alara's mind sharpened in that moment, an echo of the spirit's warnings grounding her resolve. "I am not just an Ice Queen. I am a daughter of Glacia, just as each of you are. We have all suffered at the hands of men who traded power for sentiment. Together, we can forge a kingdom where the ice binds us together, not breaks us apart." Her declaration hung in the air like a promise, and a wave of uncertainty rippled through the guards. The second-in-command stepped forward, lifting his visor, revealing eyes that held the wisdom of countless winters. "The frost crystals cannot be taken lightly. If you seek access, you must prove your intent in the trials of the ice." A murmur passed through Alara's ranks, doubt chasing their fervor. But the spirit's words echoed in her heart, and she felt the rippling trapped in her veins, a yearning for unity unfurling within. "Then grant me the trials, and let my actions speak louder than words." "Very well," the guard replied, giving a nod to his comrades. "Follow us, and prepare for the trials. Many have perished trying." As they moved deeper into the valley toward the heart of the frost crystals, Elara steeled herself for the challenges ahead. The chill in the air was thick with anticipation, and as they arrived at the sacred site, they were surrounded by towering stalwarts of gleaming ice. Each crystalline formation seemed alive with an energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. The first trial began, a test of strength and resilience. Elara and her warriors faced a blinding flurry of snow, forcing them to navigate through illusions crafted from ice and wind. Elara closed her eyes, relying on her instincts, and led her troops forward, trusting in their shared resolve. They learned to work together, their focus sharpening as they overcame the relentless blizzard, illuminating paths even when visibility faded. The second trial demanded courage. They were to descend into a frozen chasm, facing shadows that played upon their fears. Whispered doubts and voices from their past echoed around them, taunting her with memories of betrayal. "You are alone, Elara. You can't trust anyone. They will betray you just like the others." Yet instead of faltering, Elara held on to the warmth burgeoning within her heart, a flicker of strength stronger than the chill surrounding her. "I choose to trust," she shouted, her voice reverberating through the icy depths. Her warriors echoed her sentiments, and together they ignited a collective spirit that shattered the fear-induced illusions, emerging from the chasm stronger and more united than ever before. As the leaders of the guarding forces watched, the final trial materialized before them, a battle against the embodiment of darkness that sought to escape from beneath the frost crystals. The frost trembled underfoot, revealing shadows that slunk along the earth like smoke, before solidifying into a monstrous figure cloaked in malice. Its eyes were voids, a swirling chaos, and its form glimmered with shards of darkness. "Foolish mortals," it boomed, voice like cracking ice. "You seek to wield the power of the crystals without understanding the fate it guards. Let me show you despair." The ground quaked as icy winds surged, threatening to engulf them all. Panic rippled through Elara's ranks, but determination sparked within. "Together," she cried, her voice a rallying cry. "This is our kingdom. We will not fall." With fervor igniting their spirits, Elara and her warriors faced the darkness, summoning their strength as one. Crystalline shards and icy projectiles flew, shining like stars against the overwhelming gloom. Elara felt the pulse of magic around her, the energy of the frost crystals resonating with the bravery of her vision. They pressed forward, their intentions uniting their icy powers, pushing against the shadow like waves crashing against a rock. And then, just as darkness threatened to swallow them all, Elara found the heart of the curse, the essence of the darkness that now sought to reclaim what it had lost. With a swift motion, she drew upon the energy of the frost crystal, her eyes shimmering with ice-blue fire. "I am not just a queen, I am the embodiment of Glacia. You will not break us." With a surge of power, she commanded the ice to rise. It coalesced into tendrils of shimmering light, intertwining and wrapping around the darkness. Elara's heart radiated with the hopes of a united people, the weight of her ambitions transforming into purpose. She felt the icy tendrils crackle with energy, releasing a wave of light that surged towards the shadow. Caught off guard, the dark figure recoiled. "No!" It wailed. "You cannot!" But the light engulfed it, consuming the shadow with warmth, weaving together strands of shimmering ice and energy. With a final, piercing scream, the darkness was banished, coiling back into the earth as the ground settled into stillness. As the echoes of the battle faded, Elara gasped, drawing breath into lungs once constricted by fear. Around her, warriors cheered, their relief palpable, and the bond that united them surged like a tide, clearer than ice, more vibrant than snow. Together they had triumphed. And in the aftermath of the storm, light pierced through the clouds, illuminating the frost crystals that stood towering over them. With each flicker of the now glowing crystals, they understood the true heartbeat of Glacia, the power that lay within unity, trust, and understanding. Stepping forward, Elara reached for the largest crystal, feeling its energy melding with her own. "Today we forge a new alliance," she declared, her voice unwavering. "No longer a land bound by the chains of betrayal, but one where all glisten like the frost, where we turn wounds into strength." Her warriors nodded, hearts emboldened. No longer an isolated ice queen hunched over frozen ambition, she was now a leader forged in battle, united with her people. The haunting shadows of betrayal fizzled into memories tempered with a bright future, and in that moment, Elara knew that Glacia would thrive. Together, they embraced the chill of their destiny, heralding the dawn of a new era where unity reigned above all. As snowflakes began to fall around them, each flake a promise of renewal. It was clear cold was no longer the enemy, it was their strength, and the world of Glacia, shaped anew, shimmered with hope, the ice fortified with the warmth of their shared hearts.